I want to share a concept with you, a building principle I've used in many of my projects. If you find yourself struggling with large-scale builds, this approach might be exactly what you need. I'm Six Wings, and this is the pillar principle. To demonstrate it, I'll compare two builds that might look similar at first glance, but were created with very different design approaches. Recently, I watched Trixie latest video, where he showcased a time-lapse of a new build for his ultimate survival world. It's a stunning creation, and perfectly illustrates the concept I want to explore. Let's take a closer look. Trixie starts from the top, beginning with a dome and working his way downward, before adding a cylindrical wall. This simple cylinder serves as a foundation for further detailing, where he can incorporate windows, pillars, and the like. Building basic shapes and refining them with details is a common technique for large creative builds, one I use myself from time to time. However, for this type of project, I take a different approach. Let's examine the sanctum. While it also features a round dome, you'll notice that it entirely lacks a central cylindrical shape. Instead, the main structure is built around a cluster of pillars. The outer pillars serve as secondary supports, primarily holding up the arches that frame the gates, while the primary pillars extends all the way up to support the dome itself. Between the pillars, you'll mostly find straight wall sections. Yet when combined with the pillars, they create the impression of a round structure. In Trixie build, the central cylinder guides the placement of the windows and details, while in contrast, the pillars of the sanctum are the guiding elements of the entire design. There's no inherently right or wrong approach here. There are strengths to both methods. However, working with a large uniform shape like a cylinder can perhaps feel overwhelming. For someone like Trixie this isn't an issue. He's accustomed to this style of building and can effortlessly incorporate all the necessary elements, using tools that offer him a high degree of flexibility. But if you're new to large-scale builds, you might encounter some challenges. One common hurdle is to simply not knowing where to start on these large uniform shapes. Another issue is never really getting past the initial layer. This is true for any simplified shape you build upon. You might add windows or even an extra layer for depth, but the result can feel, well, a little flat or one-dimensional. If you examine the floor plans of real-life cathedrals, the inspiration behind these builds, you'll notice just how central the pillars are to the structure. Using pillars in your designs serves two important purposes. First, it breaks down the round shape into manageable sections, making the process less intimidating. Second, it immediately adds depth to the facade. And depth is key. It can really enhance the visual appeal of builds, both big and small. There's another potential challenge when working with round shapes, one that some might agree with and others may not. Namely, it compels you to work against the inherent rigidity of Minecraft. Take a look at how Trixie designs the windows. He conforms to the curve, but as a result, part of the window becomes offset. This is a deliberate and thoughtful choice, of course, and I completely understand why he approached it that way. Yet it's precisely why I prefer the more rigid approach, working with straight wall sections between the pillars, which more naturally aligns with the game's geometry. But in my opinion, this is the beauty of Minecraft. Not everyone has to build the same way. Each of us has to find the approach that suits us best. There's no right or wrong answer here, and it's a concept that deserves to be explored. For this video, I want to share a concept I use frequently, one you can start applying right now. It's simple yet incredibly powerful. It's what I call the octagonal cluster. This is a technique I return to time and time again because of its sheer versatility. At its core, it consists of 8 pillars arranged around a central point, and by adjusting the spacing between the pillars combined with the shape of the pillars themselves, you can accommodate a wide range of shapes, from round to octagonal or even square structures, allowing you to adapt the cluster to a variety of building styles. Try and experiment with different configurations and see what works best for you. While the octagonal cluster is associated with radial designs, the application of the pillar principle goes far beyond that. You can use it for any kind of builds, even castles, where the pillar takes the form of towers. But that's a topic for a whole other video. One key thing I've learned since starting the channel is that when you focus on pillars and towers as the foundation of your builds, adding the rest becomes much easier. For me at least. I've said it before, but it's worth repeating. Limiting your options makes it easier to decide your next move. At its core, the pillar principle is a tool that can guide you through large-scale projects or any build that feels overwhelming, limiting your options while directing your creativity. As Orson Welles famously put it, the enemy of art is the absence of limitations. Thank you so much for watching, and a heartfelt thank you to my patrons and YouTube members. Your support means a lot to me. If you'd like to join and gain access to all my builds, behind-the-scene posts, and updates on upcoming videos, you can find the link to my Patreon in the description. I truly appreciate every bit of support. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.